Today on the show, we get to witness the very first victim of the chest burst. All this and more on What the Hell Did We Just Watch? Welcome to another episode of What the Hell Did We Just Watch? I'm your host, Lumotional Lou. How's everyone doing? How's everyone's week been going? I hope everybody's ready for a great Memorial weekend that's coming up. And I hope that everyone has a lot of movies in store to watch, and a lot of marathons will be had over that weekend. So, I got a handful of movies that I need to watch also for to keep entertaining you guys on this show. So I hope you are enjoying yourselves and having a good time for this latest episode, because we are going to have a journey with Alien Covenant.
What happened here? All of this to start our new life. Where is it?
You've all sacrificed so much to be here. It's the first ever large-scale colonization mission, and everyone back on Earth is really grateful. We're making history here.
Now, when it comes to Ridley Scott's science fiction films, I have to really be honest with you. I like those much better than I do any of his regular films. And I don't know what it is. I just seem to be drawn to more of his science fiction films. I love Alien. For the most part, I mean, I grew up with the movie Legend. I enjoyed it, but I'm not preaching it to anybody. I know that. I know not to do that. Let's see. I love Blade Runner. I just, his science fiction films, his sci-fi films seem to make me more happier that they are films than any of his regular ones. I wasn't a big fan of American Gangster. I wasn't a big fan of Matchstick Men. They're fine in their own, way, shape. I know a lot of people like Black Hawk Down. That were really ones for me. And here's the one that is the one that most people like to complain about when every time I tell them this. And I was not a big fan of Gladiator. Sorry. I actually don't like that film at all. I am not a huge fan. Never been. I saw it in theaters and I hated it. I hated that movie with a passion. I'm not a fan. So now that we've got, that out of the way, and I hope that anyone that's still listening is still listening for after what I just told them about Gladiator. I'm sorry. It does nothing for me. Alien Covenant. I liked it. It was good. It does have a lot of flaws. I will say that. But one of the things that well, first let me just say what the film's about. The film's about it's the first ever largest colonists, some settlers that are looking for another planet. They're from the planet Earth and they're looking for a habitable planet to live in. They have found a destination and they are on their way to that destination. And so they got 2,000 settlers inside this ship, and they're about to find a new home, basically. And they're on the ship called the Covenant, hence why the name. One of the things that happens in the film is that they come across kind of snag on their journey, on their sleep journey. I mean, all the films pretty much open up with a sleep and all of them awakening, and after a long period of napping. And somewhere along the way, their ship gets into an accident. There's an accident, a big fire. There was a solar flare, and there were some people that perished, mainly the captain of the ship. and who's played by James Franco, which is a lovely cameo for him. I didn't even realize, I didn't even recognize it was him. If you didn't see the short films that were made prior to the film, then you would have missed it. That was James Franco, because the scene happens so fast you don't really get to notice him until you see him in like past footage stuff, and that's how you really notice that it's him. But they are now trying to repair the damage, and while they are awake, they listen to a distress signal, which is some music, and they get intrigued. You know, they get curious. They want to know what it is, and instead of going back to sleep to continue their journey because they had not gotten to their destination yet, they figured, let's go to this planet that can possibly be habitable, and instead of having to go to sleep for another 7 more years, that they will just settle there if it's a habitable place to live. You know, so I mean, that's all I'm really gonna say. You know, and then obviously aliens come out. You know, I don't want to call them aliens. The xenomorphs and the newly iterated neomorphs are introduced. You know what I mean? And what I mean by introduced is because this is a prequel to the Alien series, which is Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. And this is the actual sequel, almost a direct sequel to Prometheus, which is also a prequel to the Alien series. Now, like I said, the film was good. And one of the things I really love is that the film is gorgeous. I don't know what Ridley Scott is, who he is getting to scout these films, but they are going to some of the most beautiful places to film. Like, just to call them a different planet, he's doing such an amazing job when it comes to that. He just knows how to shoot. He knows what camera to use to shoot. He's brilliant with that. He really has taken the Alien franchise to a whole new level when it comes to cinematography. That's for damn sure, because we were mostly stuck on a spaceship on the first film. We were stuck on an alien planet that we could barely see because they were mostly inside as well. Alien 3, they were inside. Alien Resurrection, they were also inside. Everything was just all in the ship. Prometheus and Alien Covenant, one of the things that I love that he has brought forth into the Alien franchise is the awesomeness of being outside and being out in the environment, where, you know, even if it's on another planet, we're not inside of a fucking ship. And that's a good thing. You know what I mean? And what better way to show it? The way that they fucking show this now. Ever since Prometheus, even Prometheus has this awesomeness of just a beautiful cinematography. Like, in my opinion, I think they should win every award every time they release a new movie for Alien. They said Prometheus should have probably gotten Best Cinematography, but didn't. And also Alien Covenant, if it gets nominated for Best Cinematography, it should, because it's a fucking beautiful movie. So, like I said, I do have to mention some things about Prometheus, because this is, like I said, a direct sequel to Prometheus. Alien Covenant is a direct sequel, to this. Prometheus is a direct sequel to Alien Covenant, and one of the things that makes that so is Michael Fassbender's character, David. He reprises his role into this film, and you get to see some things that the continuation of Prometheus. What happens to our heroine from the first film, Prometheus. I actually don't have a problem with Prometheus either. There are some things, maybe, if I really dig deep enough, that it really annoyed me. It wasn't a perfect film, but there wasn't anything on there that I should say that says, you know what, that was just terrible. The same thing goes with Alien Covenant. It's just there. It's more than meh or blah, or it's good. It's good. And the only people that it will pretty much please are the newcomers, or anybody that's heard of the Alien franchise but doesn't know anything about the Alien franchise. I think those are the people that will mostly just be, intrigued and all happy that there's an Alien movie out and all that shit. But it's just another movie for me when it comes to the Alien series. More of a Predator fan myself when it comes to like wanting to know the history and the folklore and all that stuff. They're more interesting to me though, but I do like the Alien series for what it is. But I mostly just stick to Alien and Aliens. And I can go for Prometheus and I can go for even Alien Covenant, but not so much Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection. For many reasons, I just don't understand why. The deaths were cool in this film. I did like the way some people died. I did like the way that how the characters were being offed and they weren't shying away. Ridley Scott, I'm happy for him for that because in itself, it's a sci-fi film, it's a thriller, it's an alien movie, and for the most part, it was a horror film too. You know what I mean? Originally, the films were horror films. Prometheus was not a horror film. Alien Covenant is the closest thing to what the original Alien was in terms of like being horrific, being scared of this alien species that might kill you and might destroy you and all that stuff. So maybe that's what it is, you know, that's where that good connection is and stuff like that. So far I think that the story is continuity from Prometheus to Alien Covenant is good. That's good. That's always good because it doesn't, I hate, you know, when there's inconsistencies, so bad inconsistencies. It even still matches up to me, even though it's still very far away. I think there's a nice matchup to Alien so far. And you kind of see it's kind of taking shape and it's starting to make sense with Alien Covenant. And I'm happy with that too, because that's always good. You know what I mean? I guess, I mean, in terms of what I didn't like was that, I mean, those are my pros, but my cons is that when it comes to the deaths, as much as I like them, I didn't care who died. There were so many people on the film that didn't have no kind of like a good structure, no good story. Like there wasn't anyone that you were going to be emotionally attached to, and then when they got killed, that you were going to, you know, be upset that they died. And that for any film is terrible. That's stupid, you know. And they tried, I guess they tried to do it with people, but it just wasn't enough. The deaths are more for shock value. I think that's why they had such a huge cast, so they can get a huge body count. And it just didn't work because maybe that's what it is. If you're not gonna fall in love with the crew that's there, I mean, that's why we love Alien so much, because we got to know the crew, we got to fall in love with the crew, and then when the ones that died, we were like, oh my god, like that's terrible, that's horrible. Aliens also had that proper, you know, structure of liking your crew, loving some of the characters. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Game over, man. You know, like that's what I mean. Like Alien Covenant will not be memorable in that sense. There is no person in this film or group of people in this film that you just say, you know what, man, damn, I'm going to miss, you know, him or her, and because they just got killed, and that really sucks. You know, and the only person, I mean, in Prometheus, at least it had that. There was a little bit more of a cohesive relationship between some of the people, mostly the main character, not necessarily your husband, though you really wanted to, because I would have really felt more sorry just to see him burn alive, you know, get burned alive. And that's where it's kind of like sad. You know, like I didn't care for anyone dying. You know, as much as I loved the way that the deaths were, it was more of shock value than it was for there was no real emotional attachment to it. I'm going to leave one. There's one that I'm going to see if I can come up with anything before I mention the one that really upset me the most. And, you know what? No, because this is the one that really, really, you know, gets at me, that I got really upset about. And it didn't make or break it, but it was just, I'm kind of upset that the alien species, and this is spoilers here, I'm going into spoilers. I'm kind of upset that the alien species was an engineered species as opposed to an alien from another planet species. Now, this is like, just kind of hang with me there when I'm trying to tell you. When Alien first came out, they led you to believe that when the Nostramos, the ship that from the first film, when they answered to a distress signal, that they were, looking around, that they, all this and that they were looking on, and that they accidentally brought something on board that they did not think would grow so fast and end up killing them. Basically, it's like letting leaving the door open and letting the flies come into the house. Like that was one of the things that I thought that was pretty fascinating as I grew up to watch Alien and being fascinated by the film in that right and in that act. So it really, really upset me that this film was engineered. And I'm not going to say by who, because that's the part that I want you guys to, to notice. But the fact that the alien was engineered just really upsets me, and it upsets how I look at the franchise now. And damn, that really pisses me off, because what's wrong with the alien species literally being an alien species from another planet or from the planet they were on and things like that, and I think it drops down. If I were to, when I watch Alien or Aliens now, it's going to drop it down a little bit that what I'm seeing, they're engineered and they're not an actual species of monsters or whatever you call it. Like the alien species was a monster for a long, long time, is considered one of the scariest things ever to be put on film. And even still to this day, even on film, an Alien Covenant, like it still looks pretty fucking amazing. It still looks fucking hideous and creepy at times. But it did lose its creepiness factor for me when the series took that turn and they decided to say that the alien species is made up. It's made, and that kind of really, really, really hurts. Like just to know that it does put a damper on it in the future of the film. And one of the things is that one of the things that also kind of like upsets me about this film is one of the things that I think that makes the Alien series, even Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, one of the things that I feel that makes it really cool and unique is the wantingness of making sure that this thing does not make it back home, make it back to Earth, that they are willing to kill what it is in order to save the rest of humanity. Now, Alien had this, Aliens had it, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, and even Prometheus had this film where it was a self-sacrifice to make sure that whatever it is that's, killing the team does not make it out alive either. And that's one of the things that I always connected with the Alien series, ever since day one, that it was just that small emotional moment where things get very dramatic. And, I even remember that one character's speech in Alien 3 about how they have to kill it for survival and all this and that. And I just, those little scenes is the ones that always connected to, got all emotional about the most. And this film doesn't have that. There's no sense of like, we have to make sure this thing does not come back to Earth. We have to make sure that this thing does not follow us. Alien Covenant was supposed to be the middle film, technically, to the series of trilogies that's coming out, because we were supposed to get a whole new one. It's called, a third one called Alien Awakening. So, it should have been better. Like, it should have been way better than Prometheus, which I didn't think it was. Most people maybe did think, but I think that they're mostly saying that because they saw the Xenomorph for the first time. And that doesn't mean shit to me. Just seeing something on screen for the first time, because you haven't seen it in a long time, does not, make a film better at all. It's just the way it is. That's the way that I think. That's the way that I'm going to feel about that. So I don't even see any kind of, repertoire. Like it's not repertoire. Like it should have some kind of meaning. This is the middle film. It should be a bigger film, in terms of the way people are, the way that people are supposed to be. You know what I mean? There's supposed to be a bigger fight. There's supposed to be a bigger resistance. Like what I feel, like it should have been what Aliens was. It was a bigger, badder movie, and it would have been nice to see a big push, against, humanity versus, this alien species or science now, if for lack of a better word, that's what I think is one of the weaknesses of this film. It had this message between humanity and survival, man versus, animal, that kind of a like story plot. But now it's man versus machine or man versus science. And that shift is kind of sad, if you ask me. Now maybe the Alien series, now that you can kind of like, after Alien Covenant, you could probably put some pieces together when it comes to like certain things. And I'm not really going to say that, because if I say this, it's going to spoil a lot for you. And it's, just trying to give you that interest to watch it, because whether I like it or I like it a little or I like it a lot, watch it. I'm not going to, in this segment of the show where I'm watching something for the first time, what the hell did I just watch? I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I'm not, that's not what this segment of the show is for. It's to try to intrigue you to say, hey, let me go watch that. The way that he's talking about it, I want to know what he's talking about, So these kind of like elements are the things that, once you watch the film and you listen to what I'm talking about, maybe you can see what I'm trying to say about here, where I feel that, man versus animal, man versus beast, or man versus nature is much more cooler in terms of like what this film made, even though it was science fiction, that they turned it into man versus science, and just, it's not as interesting. You know what I mean? Not for me. It's not as interesting, so, but I've had my fill. I think I've talked way too much about Alien Covenant, but it is a good movie. I can tell you this much. It is better than Alien 3. It is better than Alien Resurrection, but those two shoes are not very huge to fill, so, but one thing is for sure, I'm still happy that Ridley Scott is doing science fiction films again. Like I said, it's, to me, I connect with those films more. I think there is a message in the film, though I think the message for me does not work, and I think that for most people that watch it, it's a bit of a misfire and it goes over their heads, but it should have been more on the nose. When it comes to Alien, I think it should be a little bit more on the nose. That's what I always loved about it. They just kind of like say it there, It's got the sacrifice, that suicide, thing. Like even in Prometheus had it. Idris Elba, and the other two guys, the two guys that put their hands up, they're about to like make sure a ship doesn't take off and all that shit. And that stuff is noble. I like that stuff. Giving up your life to make sure that, humanity lives. Not this alien species, and we don't want it to get to Earth and all that stuff. Oh, one more thing that I think that the Alien series needs to figure something else out. They need to, I think, figure out a whole nother way to get rid of these fucking aliens, because I think it goes without saying that it's a little bit tiring about the way they kill them. And what I mean by that is, believe it or not, every person that has gone up against an alien, or at least in these 4 films, Prometheus, not Prometheus, because that one did not happen like that, but Alien Covenant, Alien, and Aliens, they all their aliens are killed or gotten rid of the exact same way. They all get pushed out into space from the spaceship. I think it's about time that they change that. It would be nice. So, a little mini angry letter to Ridley Scott for that. Can you find a better way to kill your alien species? This throwing it out into space shit is getting kind of old. You know, can they survive a planetary atmosphere, meaning like through the thing? Like, because what if they land on another planet? Can they survive the fall? Well, we're inclined to believe that they can't, and that being thrown out into space is the best way to kill them. But they're still alive out there. At least in Aliens, they make us believe that that mother alien is still alive because it left out screaming instead of dying, like how we would die if we get out into space. But anyway, and I'm just ranting, getting all emotional about dumb shit like this. But this has been Emotional Lou, Alien Covenant. What the hell did I just watch on What the Hell Did We Just Watch? The only show that helps spread movie awareness and also TV awareness. So, it's been emotional.